BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I've got my guests here, Rob and Wayne and Carlos from the Beans and Dice podcast. We're talking spicy hot games. And one of those games, a game I've actually got to play. I think Steve's ambivalent, but maybe Rob can sell us on Dune Imperium Uprising.
Oh no. I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion on this game. So,
oh no!
Dune Imperium.
All right, that's it, folks. We'll see you next week on Gumbo Live.
Dune Imperium is one of my all-time favorites. It is in my top 10 Hall of Fame games that I will play anytime, anywhere. It hits the table. I love Dune Imperium, with expansions, without expansions, however we want to do it. So then we got this new version that came out, and I was a little late to play in. I only played it probably the first time a couple of months ago, and I did not like the additions that this game made, specifically the spies that it adds to the game. That was one decision that I just wasn't ready for, and I didn't know a whole lot about coming into it, so somebody was teaching it to me. I was like, I know Dune Imperium. I've heard this game is almost identical. You know, I'll pick it up. It'll be easy, no problem. And then they introduced this idea of spies. I like the idea of what the spies were trying to do. I guess in a worker placement game, it gave you an option to put out these little pieces on the board that allowed you that typically, normally in Dune Imperium, if somebody is occupying a spot, you cannot go to that spot until the game resets at the end of every round and all the stuff is cleared off. But now you've got these little spy spots that you can put out that allow you to reserve one or in some cases two different places that if somebody is there, you can still go to that spot just by pulling the spy off. And so it allows you to not be so blocked off of places that you can go and things you can visit. But again, my first play, I was completely unprepared for that, and I took a game that was probably I tend to be a little bit of an AP gamer, a little bit. I've gotten better over the years, from what I understand. But
lies detected.
Lies detected.
But now you gave me this decision of it, and it seems super important to me. The first time I played, I was like, I've got to pick the spot that in the next couple of rounds, somewhere that I know that I'm going to want to go, but somebody's likely to block me out of. So it was this extra layer of thinking ahead, another decision to have to make that I completely was unprepared for. So that first game, I won't lie, I took probably what should have been an hour-and-a-half game and probably stretched it to over 2 hours, just because every time I had to place one of these spies, and I ended up picking up some cards that allowed me to place extra spies, and that decision was just locking me up and killing me. So I got a chance to play it a second time about a month ago. We played here in the studio, and it was Carlos's first play, so we were teaching him the game. Wayne, you had played before, correct?
Not Uprising, but Dune Imperium, yeah.
Oh, okay, so you hadn't played Uprising either. Yep. Okay.
So is this an expansion or standalone?
It is standalone.
It is standalone? Okay.
Yep. And my unpopular opinion is that everybody who I was hearing, all the reviews, everywhere I looked, people were saying this game is the superior game. And Carlos will tell you, he believes that this is the superior gamers version of Dune Imperium. It adds some...
I would never say that.
Oh, yeah. Adds some extra decisions, makes it a little crunchier, makes it a little more exciting. Through some mechanisms in it, it kind of ramps up to the end game, and you can score a lot of points late in the game, which you really couldn't do so much in regular Dune Imperium. But Uprising gave you an opportunity to double up the points, and this is a game that's tied anyway. It's only to 10 points. Whoever gets to 10 points wins the game. And you're talking about a game that's usually between an hour and a half, 2 hours long, and you're just trying to get to 10 points. And so I played it again, just to make a long story short, played it again about a month ago, and I came out of it flat again. I said, you know what? I think I disagree with what I'm hearing from everybody. I do understand that this game is there's more going on. There's more decisions. It frees up some things by giving the spy that allows you not to block out of certain areas. But again, those extra decisions were just something I didn't need. I didn't want in my Dune Imperium. And I think I'm happy with the base, just Dune Imperium.
Yeah, I'm with Rob. Like this is the what are they? There's a lot of it's Dune colon Imperium / Uprising.
Yeah, too many things.
Is the superior version of Dune Imperium.
There you go.
That's what that is.
Superior.
It is superior in ways because it prevents the lockout. Right, so you're not going to get locked out of places. It allows for strategic depth because you're going to be starting, instead of being a tactical game, I felt Dune Imperium was just tactical. I got these cards in my hand. This is all I'm limited to. This is all I will do this round, whatever's in this 5-card draw, right? It's very small.
Right.
These are my locations. This is all I'm doing. How can I tactically use this? It takes it to a strategic level. And then it changes the cadence of how you score points. In original Dune, you tend to start scoring points on turn 1, turn 2. Now you're already in the fight. You're having to commit units after you haven't even had a chance to build an engine. Right, Steve, you drew 5 cards. You drew 5 cards and you bought 1, right? Okay, so next turn, you have to go fight. You're like, wait a minute. All I did was add a card, which didn't help me because I drew 5 more cards of the base cards anyway, right? So I wasn't really able to set up for this fight. Whereas in Dune Imperium Uprising, the battles are every round, just like the game. The game has a deck of combat rounds. Every round, there will be a battle. But the points really start coming towards that second, third of the game. And they really ramp up in that last quarter where they start to see double points. And then Rob talked about the worms being able to double the points. So if it's a 2-point victory combat and you have a worm, you're getting 4 victory points for it. But the way it mitigates that is by adding the shield wall mechanism. All the combats that occur at the end of the game are occurring in the cities that are behind the shield wall. Someone has to commit a lot of resources to break down that shield wall in order to open the doubling of the points, which is really where it's at. But then you've got these matching. I love that. Christopher Walken in the movie. I laughed out loud when Christopher Walken showed up in the movie theater, and like the guy next to me like shushed me, like it was. It's Christopher Walken, like more cowbell. Let's go. Back to the shield wall, the doubling, and then the combat cards all have symbols on them, such as thopters, daggers. The mouse, the
set collection in there.
So there's set collection. If you can win a combat to a card that you already have face up with that matching symbol, you now get an extra point on top of that. So it also drives that King of the Hill aspect. So I could, like Wayne and I know Rob wants to get that. So Wayne and I look at each other. Who's going to let Rob have that point? Are you really going to let him have it? Right? I can't afford to fight that fight, and then Wayne will fight it. Right? We played that game. For all those reasons, this is the superior version of Dune Imperium.
I'm
the base game.
I'm in between the two of these guys.
What do you think? What do you think, Wayne?
So I'm like I said, I'm in between them. I think I prefer base Dune. I do love the spy aspect of it because I kind of like worker placement games, but I'm not a huge fan of worker placement games where you get blocked out, right? But I do worry that the worms are so powerful in this game that almost your first couple of turns are dictated. You have to get reputation with the Fremen so you can get access to the hook so you can start getting worms, because they're such a big component of the end of the game. And if you're not in those last few battles of the game with worms or the potential for it, you're done, right? So I actually like both of them. I wouldn't mind both of them. Yeah, I'm the Netherlands. I'm Sweden, man, not Netherlands. Come on.
In between.
I own Dune and the expansion, so I don't see a need to go out and get Dune Imperium. But like, if I didn't own anything, I would probably get Dune Imperium, right? So that there's improvements in Dune Imperium that I think are good.
Uprising, mean?
Yeah, Uprising. Sorry, I would get an Uprising if I didn't already own Dune Imperium and the expansions, because I think the expansions add enough too. I like the idea of wiping the card draw area if you can't find what you need once per game in one of the expansions. So I'm kind of in between both. I think they're both fantastic games. One is definitely more gamery and fixes some of the issues with the first one, but they're both quality. So,
but Verla touched on it. Verla touched on it real quick. She did about the confusion with the box. Like, what is this? What is this next to that one? Which one's the base game? Which one's the original, or is this an expansion? Right? There's confusion. Direwolf Digital made a mistake, right, by calling it Dune Imperium. They made a mistake, flat out. Period.
I agree.
Because I put a caveat on what Wayne said. I do not own Dune Imperium. I do own Dune Imperium Uprising, but I am also very much tugged and pulled into getting Dune Imperium because Dune Imperium is a more medium weight game,
right?
More welcoming than Dune Imperium Uprising would be. And if they could have just did a distinction in the titles, they could have sold more copies, less confusion. It feels like, which version of Viticulture do I buy? The first, second, third, fourth, fifth edition, the essentials? Do I get the Tuscany? Do I get the cheese?
It's in the name. It's essential.
It's Tuscany Essential, by the way. It's Tuscany Essential.
It's in the name. So I've only played it once, but my one sentence review is that Dune Imperium Uprising is the Dune Imperium of Dune games.
There you go.
That's what I think it is. So Steve and Berla, you have not played Dune Imperium Uprising?
I haven't played any of the Dune games at all.
Is it a play? Is it a pass? Is it a purchase?
It would have to be a play for me because I have played Dune Imperium, and it may have been that the one particular instance fell flat. Did not work terribly well for me. And from what you're saying, part of that might have been some potential flaws or gears that needed to be greased, because our particular experience was a bit of a runaway leader effect. And there was no cat. It was very clear my game was done-ish halfway through.
Yeah.
That might be a bit of a harsh judgment based on one game.
Yeah, I think you'd
but
like
it did
to
not
try
land
it.
for me.
Yeah,
This would be worth a try. But at the same time, since so many people love Dune Imperium, I'm always wondering with this, when it comes out and there's a new fresh version that adds layers on top of it, this "but wait, there's more" thing kind of kills me sometimes, because you should have done the work in advance to say, okay, this is enough, rather than having to say.
Steve is
"But wait,
always
there's more."
suspicious. He's always suspicious of that. He is. Berla, what about you? Play, pass, or purchase? What do you think?
I'd play it. I haven't played the original. I've got a friend that really, really wants me to, and he even left it at my house for a few months and then never taught it to me. So it hasn't happened yet. I haven't been particularly drawn to it, but I haven't read the books. I haven't seen the movies. It's not something that calls to me. But I would try it.
All right, that's the
Heard good
verdict on
things.
that. That is the verdict on that.